Howdy everyone. The saying "get woke, go broke" has been an adage on conservative YouTube for the past few years. It refers to companies putting a progressive slant on their marketing in order to sell to more liberal-minded people, but can refer to movies and even YouTubers to an extent as well. And the saying implies that these companies will as a result end up losing money or going broke. The latest focus for the past year and a half for this has been Brie Larson. Brie Larson is a Hollywood actress who mostly gained infamy for doing something so heinous as playing a female rendition of initially male Captain Marvel in the MCU. And just to be clear, I won't be talking about whether portrayals of established characters should stay true to the original media, because boy am I not qualified in any capacity to talk about that. Now, this isn't too much to talk about on its own. Brie Larson is just the 2020 version of Anita Sarkeesian. Instead, I want to talk about what this statement is doing, and why these statements are so powerful at mainstreaming reactionary ideas. The value of statements like this is not in their truthfulness. Instead, it comes from repeatability. And that's not a value that's ever going to go away. This phrase in particular has only gotten more and more attention over time. And regardless of whether this adage has any weight to it, and to be clear it doesn't, it's stuck out in online spaces, and a large number of channels have dedicated more than a few videos onto it. This is hardly an unpredictable behavior, and while it's not necessarily specific to just the right, they do it a lot more and a lot better than us. Similar examples include, but are in no way limited to, feminism is cancer, vegans are preachy, facts don't care about your feelings, special snowflakes, and any variation of the word triggered. There are three main characteristics that statements of this kind all have. Firstly, they need to be repeatable. They need a nice sounding cadence that flows well, one that rolls off the tongue with ease. Make sure that as soon as someone hears the phrase just once, they can repeat it. They will often rhyme, have alliteration, hyperbole, or any other 7th grade literary technique that you can think of. Secondly, they need to be provocative. They need to produce some level of either disgust, disdain, or disaffection in the reader or listener. They'll often use aggressive language, often referring to serious illness or unfavorable positions one can be in, such as cancer or a PTSD trigger, or even in some specific spaces, the act of having feelings at all, so that onlookers will associate the provocative language with their opponent and reflexively react in disgust, disdain, or disaffection. And thirdly, and this is the most specific one, they need to sound like arguments to the onlooking untrained ear, but not actually be arguments. They work in a similar way to thought-terminating cliches. They function essentially as a proxy for an opinion, because if they actually try, or pretend to try to win an argument the old-fashioned way, then the points they make can be countered with evidence and facts. But if not, then people will spend ages trying to debunk those points. Check out this video for a detailed explanation on how that works. For the most part, politics doesn't sell online. So if you're doing politics online with the exclusive goal of appealing to as many people as possible, then unless you know what you're doing, you're on a wild goose chase. And the number one rule for doing this correctly is don't tell people that you're talking about politics. The fact that this video has the word politics in its title means that it won't reach anywhere near as far as it otherwise would. There's a reason that the adage of bros calls things they hate or don't want to talk about political. Because the word has an explicit connotation as something that we shouldn't talk about in public. Not overtly, at least. And the right knows this, and they're doing something about it. If you look at the videos that right-wing thought leaders are putting out, they strike a different vein to that which a lot of left-wing content does. They're not directly presenting themselves as entry points to the right. They're making much more accessible content than the left are. Instead of making detailed explanatory videos that leave the viewer with a whole understanding of the situation, they make short, 10-minute, raw content calling people wrong for reason XYZ and only half debunking their claims. These channels are giving you a shot of drama, with politics as the chaser. As Innuendo Studios points out here,
why this person appeals to Gabe is they're not selling politics as politics, but conservatism as a kind of lifestyle brand.
I don't want to run down the history of how marketing works. I did science in school, not media studies. But a general rule of thumb is, if a brand is selling you a lifestyle, then what they want from you first and foremost is for you to start associating that lifestyle with them. Whether it's a certain perfume trying to sell you the rampaging sex chat lifestyle, or conservatism the cool smart kid lifestyle. So how do we combat this? because it's not something that we can just stop them doing. They're taking a strategy that works and just running with it. And how do you stop people from falling for advertising anyway? And if I'm honest, I don't have very much in the way of a solution. All I can suggest that we do is to try and raise awareness about what the methods these advertisers are using, allow the people to see through what's being done, and change people's minds on an individual level.
Now that's an unfulfilling ending, isn't it? Providing a problem and not a solution? So with this end card, I want to provide a quick clarification. The reason the right can get away with this and the left can't is because of that third point there. Most of the points that we make are coherent arguments that often, but not always, hold up to good faith scrutiny, and as a result do their best to warrant and promote that level of discussion needed to progress society. Instead, the right can't actually do that because they're arguing from conservatism, and instead all they can do is vaguely gesture towards imagined hypocrisy. They don't want to prove themselves correct after all. They're not the ones with the burden of proof. They just want to prove us wrong. Another thing I want to mention is the channel background and profile picture have been updated. They were done by @QuinPrince, link to their Instagram and Twitter in the description. As always, have a good